Hi, Paul. Look, first of all, thank you very much for taking part. I'm just going to hand it straight over to you to introduce yourself, your company, and what you do.
Sure. I'm Paul Blunden. I'm founder of UX24. We are a global design research agency. And what that means is we help product owners or product directors who are struggling to enter new markets or deliver high-performing products in their target markets to use a customer-centric approach to deliver better products and services.
Excellent. And how do you do that in terms of the customer-centric part?
Well, we help them bring their customers into their product development process, essentially. So at the core level, that can be as simple as usability testing of a developing prototype. But generally speaking, it'll be discovery research, trying to uncover unmet needs and innovation opportunities around new products, product development. And that's really important because it helps customers develop products that their customers are going to want or need or use or find really valuable.
Great. And obviously, we're mentioning customers a bit here. Are there certain types of customers that you work with more than others?
Well, because we provide a global service, we tend to be attractive to international brands who have a strong digital focus. So the type of clients we have are like eBay, Shopify, Indeed, sort of global brands who are looking to understand their customers in multiple markets.
Mm. And when you say obviously you bring the customers in, is it a sort of mystery shopper type approach, or are they, how does it work?
That's a good question. For us, the vast majority of what we do is what we call qualitative research. So it is either group or normally mainly actually one-to-one interviews, rather like we're doing here, quite often on Zoom these days, but sometimes face-to-face in a research facility. And we'll be running interviews with them or providing them with tools or, giving them access to interfaces and then observing them, interviewing them, listening to them. It can also be through market research kind of surveys, if you like. So we'll do online surveys where we call it quantitative research, where they're getting questionnaires and we go with much bigger numbers.
Mm. Interesting. And again, sort of picking up just on a couple of things you said there, obviously Zoom calls and I guess sending questionnaires out as opposed to actually having people in groups. What was the impact of COVID on the business?
Well, funny enough for us, it was, not funny enough, it was transformational really for us in that prior to COVID, we delivered probably, I would say, 70% of our work in person. So, for example, we did a big project for Samsung where we did research in, I think, 13 European markets, including Romania, Serbia, Portugal, Spain. So we went all over Europe. And in order to do that, we would have to hire a research lab in every market. We would have to take research equipment to that market, set up, bring participants in and run the research. And actually, the participant would use our test device. That might be a Samsung phone in this case, or a laptop or something like that. The other part of it was remote. We did 20-30% of our work on remote, which is this kind of Zoom setup. Although actually we were using some tools that had kind of gone by the wayside now. Now, with the pandemic, what happened was everything went online, and it's remained online. So now we have probably 2 to 5% of our work is face-to-face. And actually, there are some things that are lost from it, but there's an awful lot that's gained. So, for example, participants coming to a session generally using their own device, so they're familiar with it. We don't have tech problems with them trying to work out how to use the thing in the first place. And they're at their home often, or their place of work, so it's more natural. They haven't had to travel. We have fewer no-shows. We can have wider geographic coverage for our customers because you imagine research facilities are very city-centric. So it's been, in that way, transformational because we're able to deliver research more efficiently and in some ways more effectively.
Yeah, and I guess just on that as well, for that to work, I guess then a lot of the things that you're doing research on are are the more invisible products, or not something somebody has to have in their hand to provide feedback? Is that right? Or
so I understand the question right. I mean, we do research where they do have something in their hand. So if it's usability testing or they're looking at some concepts or something like that, yeah, they would have it in their hand then. But for discovery research, actually, it's generally an interview. So whereas with usability testing, we're often worrying about or thinking about their facial expression or their body language because they might be trying to attempt something, and whereas they're nodding and smiling and saying, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Actually, their body language is screaming they can't use it. For a discovery interview, you don't have that. So it's just literally an interview, but you can still therefore pick up on a bit of the body language, but there's not that need for interaction.
yeah, excellent. Yeah, I'm really interesting the shift it had for your business. It's a massive shift, isn't it? So I would like to hear the positive things that come out of COVID. So great to hear that sort of shift that you did. And what would you see as the challenges moving forward for the business?
Well, I think for us, I mean, at the moment, like every business, the economy is probably the number one thing on our agenda that is a concern, because we were just sort of getting to some sort of consistent flow of business after the pandemic, and that's still at times a little up and down. The biggest challenge, though, I think probably facing us and our customers alike is recruitment of talented people. Digital is still, hoovering up people faster than the universities can spit them out in some ways, and experienced people are very hard to find. We're very lucky that we have a very large network of senior researchers, and we can tap into the kind of freelance market in a way some organizations can't. But yeah, identifying talent, that's still probably one of the biggest challenges.
Hmm. Yeah, no, interesting. And on a different note, obviously you've been doing it for a while. What would you say has been your biggest learning as a business owner?
Probably actually it comes down to customers actually. So whilst on one hand we're telling our customers, be more customer centric, we believe passionately that if they can bring customers into their product development process, they'll deliver better products, and they'll have higher retention, all of that kind of stuff. And actually, I've been in business a long time, and as an agency owner for 20 odd years, and what you realize is that customers are just the sort of key element. You've got to have great customer relationships. It means you've got to do great work, you need great employees and all of that stuff, but you live and die really by your customers, and whether they're happy with you, and whether they're investing in you, and whether you're able to deliver value to them in a way they understand and benefit from. So yeah, customer relationships really, I think, probably over the years haven't spent enough time on them, and you realize latterly that they're just the most important thing to invest in.
Yeah, good advice. And on a sort of connected but slightly different note, have you got any advice that you would give to your 18-year-old self?
Yeah, I think probably that it's a marathon, not a sprint. I think when you're young, you tend to sort of tear around doing everything, working all the hours God sends, and yeah, not taking a breath. And I think probably the pandemic's taught us that a little bit. I'm not sure I'd have given the advice pre-pandemic that I'm offering my 18-year-old self now, but I think now looking back is, yeah, probably take a breath and stick your head up from time to time and have a look around, because you do tend to run at 100 miles an hour. And sometimes you need to pause, take it in, and think more strategically, or yeah, just think a little bit more than act.
Yeah, that makes sense. And look, what is a source of inspiration to you? What inspires you?
I find the work we do actually the most inspiring. We have a unique way of delivering our services. So when we set up, the goal was really to deliver global research by having one team, because in the past I used to deliver research or do research for our clients in, say, 5 markets, and we'd have to use 4 agencies plus ourselves to kind of bolt this thing together, and it was horrendous. Now when we do research, we might be doing it in, say, Japan and UAE and the UK and Germany and the US, and maybe in 3 of those markets we've got staff researchers, in 2 of them we've got freelancers. But what's wonderful is seeing the researchers come together and work as a team, whether they're freelance or full-time, and you'll see them, even the freelance guys we work with will be messaging on our Teams platform, the other researchers, even when they're not on billable days, just asking, oh, how did your day go? And what did you learn? And it's just really inspiring, actually. They're just so interested in the work and helping the customer. And yeah, it just puts a smile on my face, and I find it very inspirational.
Great. And yeah, great is when they're in different places, but they want to be part of the same team and keep in touch too.
Yeah, and they're just really interested in the international differences, cultural differences, things like that. It just really pulls them in, and yeah, it's really inspirational.
Great. Look, as a final thing, is there any sort of offer or any news you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, I was hoping to share that we've won a couple of new global clients, because we just have, and we're about to do a big project in a lab in London for a large TV company. But we've asked them for permission to mention them, and they haven't replied yet. So at the moment, I haven't got any news that's particularly great, other than we've just hired a couple of people. We've got a new person in Barcelona and a person in Sao Paulo. So we're in London, Barcelona, Delhi, Sao Paulo now, and Germany, amongst others. So a little bit of news, but not so.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. Some really different cultural mix there, and different ways of working, I imagine. So that must be interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's fascinating. I love working in a multicultural environment. It's really interesting. Yeah, people really stimulate each other. It's a great environment to work in.
Excellent. Look, we'll look out for the names of the clients once you've got that, and we'll watch the website and see who they are. You piqued the curiosity now. So look, first of all, thanks very much for taking part. It's always really interesting to learn about different businesses, and I appreciate you taking the time.
You're welcome, and nice to speak to you, and thanks for the interview.
Thanks, Paul.